decide whether you like it or not.
And you can be able to identify the ingredients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also if you have that, for example, that fruit in particular, if you taste it
Mamá
all the
bañé.
time, you know what it is.
Right.
You identify the ingredients, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
And it is very simple. Just use your senses, your spider senses. And
What is it called? The
spider senses.
no, but he has a. I'm talking about Spider-Man. He has a. What do you call it? Spider sense. Spider sense.
Spider sense.
Spidey sense.
Spider sense.
Well, said, when you are getting ready to perform an action, when you have a deep breath before you speak, when you get into a posture, a physical posture to make an activity that is related to physical performance, when you do like this for start running, like this, well,
Ciao.
being ready to perform an action, for example, physically ready, as I said, or emotionally ready to keep a conversation with yourself and say, I know this text, I know this stuff, I need to do it. So, guided response to performing an activity by looking into a map.
Is physical and what instead?
Said, could be physical preparation and emotional. Emotional. So, guided response is to perform an activity following a model that could be copied for someone else, like a kinesthetic way of learning, or trying and trying and trying until you find one. For example, when you look at some I don't know, stuff that you bought, and they have the instructions, and you are like trying to fit and to get together the whole thing without looking at the instructions until you find a way that actually works. And
Always.
as always, that's guided response. In a way, it could be guided from someone else, for a third person, and it could be a guided response from yourself.
It's like the examples you said, right? That proves that with the remote control for the
Mega tablet.
yeah. It could be applied here.
Mechanism. Being able to perform without thinking of it. For example, when you learn a language and then you're being to talk that language without thinking and without translating in your head, which I'm not doing right now, but it doesn't matter. And because I'm really nervous. And
Don't be.
this ability to act without thinking is considered to be a mechanic act. You can also be able to draw without thinking, without drawing lines or patterns before you draw. You can be able to play at the guitar without looking at the chords, or to play the piano without looking at the what?
So it's like doing things automatic.
Yeah, doing things automatic.
You know, the example that you gave when you're talking, I don't think it fits much into there because when we are talking, there is always logical thinking and.
I know. This doesn't mean to get rid of thinking. I mean to step aside of thinking. It's
Okay.
to think, but in a second place.
Like, you're going to think of course what you're going to say perhaps.
Uh-huh.
Not a subject predicate noun.
Okay.
It's more natural the way that you talk.
Okay.
More fluent.
What I'm saying is that because it's related to the psychomotor, to me it sounds more like it's related to things that you do physically.
Oh.
You know?
And talking is a physical
Yes,
activity.
of course.
To move that up.
Yeah. I mean, there is movement. I see what you mean. I understand.
It's well, we can get rid of that idea and just say that when you play the guitar without looking at the chords, you cannot play in a mechanic. Okay. So over response, when you're able to get to do an activity without worrying about it, and also when you do this activity with a high level of performance and skill, when you rock at that, I mean, when you are great at some activity, it's considered to be over response because you are over your limits in your mind. You get into a place in your mind that is completely impossible to reach for someone else but you. So you are. This is very difficult to get. It's very difficult, but hopefully we are going to get there.
Can you give me an example of something like that?
An example for a musician, music composer, for example, when Beethoven, he
Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk, that
Who's that one? You know,
a skater. So, a skater, but I like to dance. So, for example, Beethoven, that he lost his sense of hearing, and then he didn't care. He just kept on composing music without thinking of it. Skipping all this and just getting to the over response when the body kind of defies all the obstacles and gets into a place that most of us are.
Would you compare that as the level of mastering an activity? For example,
Yeah.
you're like a professional
Yeah.
guitar player, no?
Yeah.
You master.
That could be compared with that because this is a process, you know, and as you said, when you practice and practice and practice and practice, you get into that, but most of us don't practice, and so that's why we don't reach until this level.
Miguel.
So the next,
Miguel, is that the correct word? Complex or overt response?
Overt response.
Okay.
okay, adaptation. Using previous skills to perform new tasks. This is a very complex one. I didn't get it completely because it talks about when you have so many skills and you're able to perform a new one. When you dance, for example, and you're a good dancer, and then you think like there comes an idea into your mind that I will dance underwater. So you are kind of inventing something new based on your skills, your dance on water, and that is impossible for normal people, but for you it's completely cake. It's a piece of cake because you're an expert.
You are the expert, and you master the skill that you are able to modify it and come up with something completely new.
And then you
Like
made a
the
revolution on
Like the
that.
shuffle dance.
Yeah. Shuffle dance. Yeah.
The shuffle.
Everyone. Maybe when I'm drunk. Origination. This is also more difficult than this one. This adaptation is to invent a new skills.
You become creative.
No, it's to invent a new activity based on your skills.
Okay.
But then, origination is to discover a skill in your system that doesn't exist. How? I don't know.
Discover skills that you didn't know that
When
you
a
had.
person, have you seen superheroes? National Geographic. People that can perform activities or have skills that anybody has.
What is that called?
It's superheroes.
Superheroes.
Yeah, people that are completely special and have skills that can break an arm and then put it together. Yeah, so it is very rare.
It's
So
like
Like the
extraordinary.
guy,
extraordinary.
or like the guy that can eat anything, but
Yeah, could eat anything.
Anything like focus, use yes.
And then it hurts at the end.
No.
That was a bad mental picture.
Well, now as a summary,
Is that your dad?
this is my dad. No, this is the guy that influenced all the research related to the taxonomy, the educational taxonomy. This is Major. And he made a couple of recommendations for us to think about. This is a code of Majors. I want you to interpret it. You cannot concern yourself with the problem of selecting the best route to follow without knowing what your destination is. Did you comprehend?
Yes.
I know.
Yes, but nobody knows their destination.
I mean, not in a philosophical approach, but in a approach as a teacher. What do you want to get as a teacher? What do you want to teach? You can't concern about that, the ways of doing it without knowing what you want to do. So,
Wait.
get it. This is a summary of the reasons why taxonomies were made. So this is a very important slide.
You cannot concern yourself with
And he's all.
Thank you, Mike.
Who's the guy? Majors. No, I think
his father.
Robert Major. Robert Major. Not like Robert. It's Robert.
I would have fit.
So Robert is like stealing. Yeah. He is the researcher that influenced all the studies related to taxonomy. Okay, so his recommendations for us are to describe what you want the learner to be doing with demonstrating achievement and indicate how you will know they're doing it. For example, when you say to your students that you want them to complete a homework or an assignment, how they will be aware that you know that they're doing it? Because you will say, I'm going to check your assignments tomorrow, due tomorrow. So, the next one. Identify and name the behavioral acts that indicates achievement. Define the conditions under which the behavior is to occur. State the criteria of acceptable performance. This could be related to what we learned about affective filter hypothesis and all that learning styles. When it's most likely for a student to be successful. Why a student isn't successful at all. Write a separate objective for each learning performance. You have to plan a lesson thinking about all the skills related to language teaching. Listening, writing, speaking, and what is the other one? Listening, writing, speaking, reading. So, you have to write separate objectives for each learning performance to fulfill in your class. So you have to be very organized. And it's over. Get out.